Hey guys, look! Starfield is nearing its 1.0 update. Isn't that neat? Took them a little bit, but they're getting there.
It's been 84 years.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. I hope your week is going well. Mine sure is. So initially, this video was supposed to be out during the original announcement of the update.
Well, time makes fools of us all.
But as other videos were made, I made the executive decision to wait till the update is fully out. Because folks, the biggest Starfield update to date is here! But before we go over it, I just need to gloat a little. Because back when I played Starfield on its release, I said numerous times in videos, streams, etc., stating, based on what I've played, there is absolutely no reason the Series X could not run this game at 60. I was met with pushback with responses like, they're pushing the consoles to its limits, it's CPU based, the Series S parity though, and lo and behold, we got a 60 FPS mode for the Series X before FSR3 implementation onto consoles is out, despite the Series S still being locked at 30, which is more understandable. And clearly, the game was not pushing the system to its limits. So, suck it, all of you who doubted me. What is it I always say, folks? Never bet against the crab. Sorry for that tangent, but you guys have no idea how cathartic it was and how vindicated I felt. But with that out of the way, let's dive into the details regarding this update, shall we?
Finally!
So, ever since the update was in beta on Steam, I've actually been replaying it. And as we get to each update feature added, I'll talk more at length about how they're implemented. But first things first, I want to talk about the performance improvements, because at launch, I was barely able to get a stable 30 FPS on my PC. Now, admittedly, my PC is in dire need for a CPU upgrade, as I'm still rocking an i7-6700K, but I am a stubborn and cheap-ass crustacean, and this was the first modern game I had major trouble running at an acceptable frame rate. So at launch, I decided to play the game on my Series S, as I figured, hey, if I can't get higher than 30 FPS on my rig anyway, I might as well just play the console version. Now, every couple months, I would re-download Starfield on my PC, seeing if the newest update would fix the problems I had with running it. And every single patch, I saw an incremental improvement, but not much. Then finally came update 1.11.36. And now, as I play Starfield, I am getting a steady 60 FPS at medium settings at 1080p. Which, as you can imagine, is a big deal because my PC technically doesn't meet the minimum CPU requirement, and yet, I'm now able to hit 60 FPS fairly consistently. Which means, hey, all those comments from Todd Howard telling people the game was optimized, they just needed better PCs is utter crap. Clearly, the game was poorly optimized at launch, and the proof is my fucking PC now able to run it smoothly. So, I don't know, maybe it's time to update those system requirements, eh? Because they aren't exactly accurate anymore.
Boom. Roasted.
But let's finally talk about the details of the update, because boy howdy is it a biggin'. So the first big change to the game is how they approach city maps. Now, if you played Starfield at launch, you would know the city maps were basically worthless, as it would be a blue background with a few points of interest, but it wouldn't show building designs, roadways, or even the player's current position. Now, supposedly, this was done because Bethesda wanted players to learn the city maps by exploration like Morrowind, as there were always signs in the city that would point you to its various districts and shops. And while I get the idea, this is ultimately a quality of life feature that should honestly just be the standard if you're going to have a map in the game. But what are the changes to said map? Well, as you can see in the image here, the city is now highly detailed, from the starport all the way to Constellation, and it actually looks very nice. In fact, it's a lot more detailed than I think anyone would have expected it to be, which is very much appreciated. And as you can see, it's not just major districts marked as it used to be in the old map. Now, everything from tram locations to shops are all marked, and you can see exactly where in the city they are. And thanks to the improved detail on the city layout, it's probably going to be much easier for new players to find these points of interest. Finally, we can see the player ship outlined in orange at the bottom here. And a little fun fact about this, the ship silhouette does adjust to your ship's overall custom design, which once again, they really didn't have to do, but it's nice that they did. Next, they added a litany of new options in the gameplay section, allowing you to tailor your experience to your own personal preference, from changing how much damage enemies do to how much damage you do. You can adjust ship damage separately from these as well. Whether or not you need to be closer or farther from your ship to access the ship inventory, the healing speed of curatives, if you need to eat, if you need to drink, if you need to sleep, where you can sleep, if injuries heal or if they can get worse if not properly treated, etc.
Dang, man.
Basically, with these options, you can make your own survival mode, tailored to your specifications. I definitely tooled around with this, tuning up enemy damage but simultaneously turning up my own damage, because this is one of the things harder difficulties in games generally get wrong, in which, if you're going to make enemies kill me in less hits, the same should apply to me. This is actually something the Metro series got right with their Ranger difficulty. In fact, when you would choose the Ranger difficulty in the Metro games, they made a point to tell you enemies do more damage, but so do you. Look, I don't mind being more easily killable in games. It's when enemies stay damage sponges or I do less damage is when I get annoyed, because that's not a challenge, it's tedious. But that's another topic for another day. But the biggest boon to these options is now, as you increase the challenge of these options, you'll get a small XP boost. And similarly, as you lower the challenge, you'll earn less XP. A nice little balancing act for your experience. Overall, a very nice addition to the game. Moving on, most people might not care about this, but I sure as shit do. You can now decorate the interior of your starship, in the same way you can decorate your bases. Now, as someone who went batshit crazy with the base building in Fallout 4, I was severely disappointed with the base building in Starfield, as it felt they were less focused on player expression and more focused on keeping the general aesthetic safe. So I mainly messed around with the ship building, something I similarly got very much into. But I also lamented the inability to decorate the interiors efficiently, apart from grabbing junk, dropping it on the ground, and then slowly placing the items where I want them to be. But now, I don't have to worry about that, which is an incredibly nice quality of life update that I'm at least thankful for. Next, they added tabs to containers, making inventory management easier. Fairly small, but nice. Not really too much to say on that. But the next feature, oh boy, have y'all been asking for this one.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Finally, in a game in which they touted the significance of New Game Plus, you can finally change your traits and appearance upon entering the Unity. This is a big one, because one of Starfield's biggest problems was the fact that once you chose your traits, you were stuck with them. Now, to be completely fair, this isn't new for Bethesda, as they would always encourage players to make different characters in Skyrim, Fallout, etc. But those games did not have New Game Plus. So if you chose, let's say, the Bounty Hunter trait, in which you are constantly being hunted, only to find you didn't like that trait, your only option was to make a brand new character. Except the entire point of New Game Plus was so that you didn't have to do that anymore. So thankfully, with this update, you can now do so. The last two features are the ability to turn off the dialogue camera if you prefer the way it was done in Skyrim, a small but nice change for those who didn't like the close zoom in, and of course, display settings for the Series X to prioritize visuals or performance, adjust frame rate, and toggle VSync. Because as I said before, there was no reason the X could not run this at 60. Now, there are also a litany of bug fixes and performance improvements, but this video was more focused on the new features, so if you want to read up on those, I'll leave a link to the website in the description below. Starfield may not have launched at 1.0, but they're certainly a lot closer now. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in. Today's crab fact of the day is in regards to coconut crabs. Did you know they go by another name? Sometimes referred to as robber crabs, the coconut crab's alternate name was originally coined back in 1906 when English naturalist Henry N. Ridley wrote about these thieving creatures stealing items like saucepans, bottles, and even a boot from his tent. Another researcher in 1976 one time noticed a coconut crab holding a bottle of whiskey behind it. The reason for their specific kleptomania, according to experts, is due to their acute sense organs. And that's going to be it for the crab fact of the day. As always, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. As always, to stay up to date on all things crab, you can follow me on Twitter via the link in the description below. And if you're looking for a way to support the channel, you can consider becoming a member. For only 99 cents a month, you get access to the community Discord, the Crab Shack. Once you're in for good, as well as emotes you can harass me with live on streams. But with all that out of the way, I will see you guys in the next video.